Greetings to all. This is Dr. R. Ravikumar. In this session, I would like to discuss about categories of functions in C. In the previous session, we discussed how to define a function, how to call a function. Now, in this session, we are going to be discuss about categories of functions. We can categorize the functions based on two. One is based on source and based on arguments and return value. Now, coming to based on source. Based on source, they are categorized as library functions as well as user defined function too. Library functions, these are the functions which are predefined function. So like if you consider this printf and scanf, printf is used to print the output, scanf is going to be read the data from the standard input device. So these two functions are existing in the header file called stdio.h. Similarly, sqrt and POW. sqrt square root function, POW power calculation, power a power n. Likewise, we can calculate. These functions are defined, predefined in the header file called math.h. Similarly, few more functions: strlen, strcmp, string length and string comparison. These are the functions which are predefined, that are already existing functions. All the library means already defined, they are predefined and they are ready to use by us. And particularly this strlen and strcmp are existing in the header file called string.h. There are several header files in C language, so we can utilize those functions. For that library functions, what we need to do, hash include respective header file we have to write, respective header file we have to write. And coming to user defined function, in the previous session we discussed a function called add num, so which is not existing in any of the header files which are predefined. This has been defined by us. So the name of the function, which is going to be take few parameters and which may return or may, in the earlier case we have not written anything, so we have written integer value, so return type is integer, and we have written the code like this. Now this type of, so our own defined function are called user defined function. Now coming to these user defined functions, so these have been categorized into four based on arguments that we are passing to the function within the parentheses. Okay, and the return value before the function name, we are giving some type. It might be integer, it might be float, or it might be void also. Means when we are not, we don't want to return anything, we are specifying it as void. If you want to specific data, then we are going to specify data type. So based on this return value, this is called return value, and these are called arguments. Based on this type, these two, the functions have been categorized as follows: no arguments, no return value; with arguments, no return value; no arguments with the return value; with arguments with the return value. Now we will look into each one separately. First one is no arguments and no return value. For this instance, we have considered one function called, what is the function name here? Which college. So we have to take care about the name of the function. That is, we have to follow the all the identifier rules. So giving a name to a variable, giving a name to a function is called identifier. Now we are defining this function, we have to follow all the identifier rules here. Now function name is which college. So arguments means within the parenthesis, is there any value that we are specifying here? No. Means no arguments. And what this function is returning? It is not returning anything. So then we will give void, empty data type. Right. Now this is a function which will not take any arguments and which will not return any value. What it is going to be do? It has two statements. What are they? Both are of printf output statements. First line is displaying the CMRCET and Lakoya new line, and in the next line we are displaying near var or exit 6. Now how to execute this particular function? In the main function we have to call this function In the main function, we have to call this function. What is the function name? Which underscore college, without any parameter. Then control will jump from this statement to here, from this statement, and it is going to execute these two statements. After the second statement, there is nothing is there, so the control will come back to the next statement of this which college. So what will be the output? The CMRCET, Kandlakoya and near ORR exit 6 will come as the output. Now if I execute once again same function call, if I call the same function one more time, then what it is going to be displayed? Same output it is going to be displayed. Similarly, if you run it any number of times, same output we are going to be get, because we are not passing any input parameters and we are not giving any return value. So always we are going to be get the same sort of output, same type of output. This is regarding no arguments and no return value. Now if I go to the next one, with arguments and no return value. With arguments means these are the arguments. So whenever we would like to pass arguments to the function, so we have to follow this notation. Function name, it should be a valid identifier, function name followed by list of arguments. List of arguments. This list of arguments must be separated by comma if at all there are multiple arguments. No arguments means as we discussed in the previous case. Now coming to list of arguments means you may have at least one or more than one. If at all there is only one, no need to have the comma. If at all you are having more than one, then we require the comma. Okay, then we require the comma. Now here in this case, and those lists should be separated by comma, as well as each parameter types explicitly specify int a comma int b. Don't specify that int a comma b. It is a valid declaration in the variable declaration, but these are not the variables, these are the arguments to the function. We have to specify its data, their data type individually, even though those respective data types are same, but we need to specify separately, as in the case here, int a, int n. Now what is the function name? Calc power. We would like to calculate the power. Power, what power? A power n value I would like to calculate. So how many values we are going to be pass means, I'm going to be call this function from the main, like calc underscore pow 2 comma 3. This is the function. Now this 2 value will be copied into a, this 3 value will be copied into n. Now here I have taken the two variables I and p. P has been initialized by 1, which is a multiplicative identity, and I is varying from 1 to n. I is varying from 1 to n, and we are calculating p equal to p star equal to a. That is, this is equivalent to p equal to p into a. What is the p initial value? 1. 1 into 2, 2. So what will be the p value? 2. 2 into 2, next iteration I value is 2, 2 less than equal to 3. Yes, then 2 into 2, 4 has been assigned to p, and then next iteration 3 equal to I value is 3, 3 equal to 3. Yes, then in such case p is having the value 4 and a value is 2, 4 to the 8, and 8 has been assigned to p. Now what we are displaying? So what will be the output of this particular statement means 2 power 3 equals to 8. This will be the output of this particular function if you call with the calc power of 2 comma 3. Now it is taking the arguments and it is not returning the value. Coming to the next one, no arguments with return value. So if you consider this function name, what is the function name? Get int. Is it taking any parameters? No, but it is returning integer value. Now what we are doing here means, so I have declared one integer variable called n and enter an integer value, and we are reading the data into that n by using scanf. Now we are returning that value by using return keyword. That return value will be assigned to the calling variable of a calling function. Suppose if I go with the main function, I am writing here void main, okay, int p, p equal to get int and printf p equal to percentage d comma p. Now here what will be the output means, here the we call the function called getInt. Control has came to here and it read the data into the n value, that n value has been returned. That return value will be assigned to p and we are displaying that value. Now with argument and with return value. Now here I have taken with argument and with return value. What is the function name? Is even. It is taking one integer value n and it is going to be written one integer value. That integer value is either 1 or 0. If the given argument value n is even number, then I am going to be written 1, otherwise we will return 0. So now how, what we have done here, we declared here result variable r equal to n mod 2. So it is, we are going to have the remainder of dividing n by 2. Now if that remainder value is 0, we are returning 1, otherwise we are returning 0. This function is an example for the with arguments and with return value. Okay, thank you.